Hello everybody, and welcome back to this week's Power Ranking. So today I have the board finally, and I got it a little bit earlier than expected, so I have a different setup. I'm gonna get a stand like an easel stand, the ones they use for painting or whatever, to use that. But right now I have it kind of set up in a weird way, so bear with me, folks. But yeah, my brother made this for me. It's a really cool board, and I didn't number it, and label it, but obviously you can tell 30 teams. So this will be 30. This will be 1. I'm banking on expansion teams coming, although I may have misinterpreted relocation versus expansion because the A's are leaving, but we're not adding the team. So I do have 2 extra spots. So I was stuck in some balls that have no affiliation with any team. Niagara Falls and a Hawaii ball. So anyways, let's get started. Number 30 is Oakland. So also last week I was in Arizona. I got this cool hat. I went to a game. So I'll post last week's power rankings right there. I didn't make a video on it. So for reference, use this screen right here. So if a team is dropping a spot, it's not from my last video, it's from last week. And here's an image of where they were ranked last week. So same spot as last week is Oakland. Oakland sucks. Do we need to talk about them? They're 5-23. They lost the series against LA, but they won a game, and then they just got. I was gonna say they got swept by Cincinnati, but they just walked them off. So they had 2 wins on the week. They're I think they were 2-5 or whatever. So Oakland still 30, not doing well, and I think it'll be a battle. This board might be balancing this board might be a little interesting. It will be a battle between like last and 29th, I think, the whole year for them. So Oakland, yeah, bad. All right, number 29 are the Royals. So the Royals had a tough week. They went 2-5. They lost the series, 1-3 against Minnesota, and then they lost the series in Arizona. And actually caught one of those games. The game they actually won. They almost got walked off, but they did not. The Royals, I have a cold if you couldn't tell, by the way, so I'm sorry if I'm sniffling a little bit. But anyways, yeah, the Royals are having a tough time, and I think it's going to be between them and Oakland, and maybe the White Sox. We'll get to them about who's going to be like at the bottom of the barrel here. But yeah. All right, number 28, dropping 4 spots, are the White Sox. So the White Sox, you're bad, you're trash. I don't know what to say. You have such a talented roster, but everyone's just sucking. And I think this series against Minnesota is going to be the most important one. You just got swept by Toronto, and then you barely won a game against Tampa Bay with an amazing comeback. And as a Twins fan, I was thinking, do I want to face the White Sox on a horrible losing streak? Because I'm a person with a lot of averages kind of guy where I think they cannot lose this much. So they're going to have to win eventually. So I figured if they're going to lose 10 in a row, they're going to at least win 1 or 2 against Minnesota because they have to. But now they have this amazing 7-run comeback. So now I'm thinking, now they have a big morale boost. So this is really going to be a question of, are they going to use that morale boost to like start playing good baseball and I guess get their mojo back and maybe be a threat to the Central, or are you just going to roll over again and lose 2 to the Twins, and then, yeah, you suck. So this is really going to be a series this upcoming one, is it going to be a one like, are you for real now, or are you still just going to roll over and die? So right now you're at 28. Hopefully you can get out of there. But yeah, not good for the White Sox right now. They have an abysmal record. Their record is 8-21. Yeesh. So yeah, let's see if they can get out of here soon. So if you're a White Sox fan, this upcoming series is very important. Moving up 1 spot are the Rockies. So basically, they got moved up because the White Sox suck. They're 3-3 on the week. They're 9-20 overall. They actually beat the Guardians, and then they just lost the series versus Arizona. So the Rockies, they started off kind of good, and now they're just going down to trash mode. So if you're a Rockies fan, the Rockies are the hardest team to read because I don't know what they're doing, because they're not like necessarily in a declared rebuild, but they're certainly not contending. So Rockies are just kind of stuck in this purgatory kind of stage. So if you're a Rockies fan, I'm sorry. Hopefully they can just win, I don't know, a handful of games coming up and just get into the second row as a kind of morale boost or just something to cheer for. But right now you're at 27. So Rockies, I don't know. All right, moving up 1 spot are the Nationals at 26. So they're 3-3 on the week. They won a series in New York against the Mets, and then they lost a series against Pittsburgh. Nationals, they have some good pitching from Gray right now. That's exciting. I know I didn't cover it, but they did beat my Twins last week in Minnesota, so that was good for them. So they're playing better ball. A lot of young talent playing well. So if you're a Nationals fan, there's something to cheer for. Your future, I guess. But yeah, so they're not playing below expected, but I don't know. I wouldn't say they're playing above expected, but they're certainly not playing below expected. So if you're a Nationals fan, let me know what you think of this, because I don't really know how to grade them. But I think right now 27 is or 26. Sorry, 26 is a fair spot. All right, same spot as last week are the Tigers at 25. They were 3-4 in the week. They won the series in Milwaukee, and then they lost 1 of 4 games, or they lost 3 or 4 games against Baltimore. So the Tigers, they were playing good ball up until about this week, but they're still playing good ball for them. But they could have made a better push, that they would have won more games, they could start creeping down the Guardians. But we'll see how that really shakes out. But the Tigers, I mean, I wouldn't. If I'm playing them, I wouldn't see it as like an easy win series. They've been playing well as of late. Like I said, they kind of had a hiccup this week, going 3-4. I think they could have gone 4-3. But yeah, Tigers 25. I think next week we could see them in this row. Dropping 2 spots are the Cardinals. The Cardinals 24. They're in trouble. So remember 2 weeks ago when I made the power rankings, I said I don't want to move them up yet because I want to make them prove it back-to-back weeks. Well, the last 2 weeks have been bad. So I'm glad I didn't move them up because clearly they did not deserve it because they're not playing well at all. They went 1-6 on the week. They went 1-3 against San Francisco, and then they got swept by the Dodgers. So they both of those series were on the road, but still, Cardinals, you got to get it together. And I was thinking before the season, like, Cardinals are always the most consistent team. They always win the Central. They always make the playoffs, and then they're kind of like a wild card in the playoffs. A wild card isn't like anything can happen, but they're not playing like that. They're playing bad ball, and who knows? Could it be because of the O'Neill and manager beef? I don't think so because I haven't heard anything on that recently. But maybe that was kind of like the first domino to fall. So we'll see. But yeah, 24, the Cardinals, not good right now. Not good. Moving up 3 spots are the Reds. They almost had a perfect week. They went 5-1. They just lost. They got walked off by Oakland, but they swept Texas, which was a good sweep for the Reds. And then they almost swept Oakland in Oakland. So a good week for the Reds. I didn't want to move them up too much. I almost moved them up 1 more spot, but I decided not to because I want to make them earn it. I don't want to get in the habit of just slingshotting teams up and moving teams down. Usually, like the Guardians, though, if you have 2 bad weeks, I will move you down. Like I think I moved them down to 20, and I think they're still there. So, but generally speaking, if you have 1 good week, I don't really want to slingshot you up unless you beat like 2 really good teams. But anyways, so Reds having a good week. Hopefully, they can keep it going. We'll see what can happen. But yeah, 23 for the Cincinnati Reds. All right, moving up 1 spot, and they move up 1 spot mainly because everyone else below them did really bad, other than the Reds, I would say. The Giants. So they went 3-3 in the week. They went 3-1 against the Cardinals, and then they got swept in Mexico in the Padres series. Like, it wasn't an away game, technically a home game for the Padres, but both teams were away. But anyways, decent week for the Giants. And I was thinking I think if you're a Giants fan, you don't need to like think of this season as a loss as maybe the first couple weeks you did because you were playing really bad. But you have Haniger back. Your pitching staff is starting to get it rolling. The 2-game sweep against Padres didn't really help your morale. But I think Giants, in the next couple of weeks we could see things get rolling and see where they end up because I think they look like a better team than they did last week. So right now they're at 22, but I could see them moving up. Same spot as last week is Seattle. So Seattle's had a tough go of it. They went 2-4 in the week. They lost a series against the Phillies, and then they lost a series against the Blue Jays. So 2 teams that were playing well. But yeah, Mariners fans with playoff expectations. They had a bounce back week, and then they have this week. So Mariners are in a tough spot right now, and I think fans might be starting to panic a little bit. I mean, April just ended, and you're 12-16, not exactly where you want to be. Especially, I think you're behind Texas and Houston and Los Angeles, I believe. So you're second to last in your division. Well, I was going to say almost last, but Oakland is in its own little world. So Seattle not playing great, and it doesn't help that Robbie Ray's gone now. So we'll see how they manage this next month. But I think again, this is one of those teams where the next 2 weeks could be very telling of how the season is going to go. So they really need a strong 2 weeks coming into May, and we'll see what they can do. But right now, they're at 21. All right, same spot as last week are the Guardians. So they lost the series against Colorado, and then they just lost the series against, I believe it was Boston, in Boston. So they are 13, well, I was going to say they're 13-5. I think they're 13-15 overall. Not great. But Guardians last year also had a weak start. So we'll see what happens in the coming weeks. They do have an important series against Minnesota this week, so we'll see how they play in that one. But yeah, the Guardians, I don't want to say they're playing below expectations just because last year they were like below 500 like almost a whole year and then ended up winning the Central. So I don't know. They've had some hitters who were hitting last year, not hitting right now. But then again, when they get on base, I think they have like 35 stolen bases or something ridiculous. So the Guardians, I wouldn't count them out, especially if you're a Guardians fan. I think the Central is open to anyone, even though the Twins have had a great start, who I'm a fan of. They were prone to falling like last year when they were pretty much in the lead the whole year until the very end. So Guardians are at 20 right now. We'll see what happens this week. All right, dropping 1 spot is Miami. So they really dropped because they got passed, even though they had a decent week. They went 4-3, which is above 500 week. But again, the teams just played better below them, so they got moved down because they got passed. So They lost the series 1-3 in Atlanta. I said that weird. They lost 3 of 4 games against Atlanta, and they had a good comeback win to win that game, and then they swept the Cubs. So a good bounce back to the end of the week for Miami, but like I said, they kind of just got passed. So they did drop one spot, but I think they could easily be in contention for like one of these spots and even a wild card because they're playing good right now. And I've been dying for the Marlins to get in the playoffs for so long because their pitching is so good. When they made it in 2020, I predicted they're going to win the first round and the second round. Unfortunately, they only won the first round. But so yeah, I'm a low-key Marlins and Diamondbacks fan along with the Pirates. So hopefully they can get something rolling here. Decent week, like I said, but they do drop one spot because some teams just played better. All right, dropping 2 spots from last week are the Red Sox. So again, another team that had a decent week, but they just got passed. So they went 3-3 on the week, 500 ball. They lost the series in Baltimore, but then they won the series at home against the Guardians. So again, not a bad week for the Red Sox, but some teams are just playing better, so they did get passed. The Red Sox, personally for me, they're playing better than I expected them to play. I think they're at above 500 record. They're 15-14. I was about to say they're at a 500 record, but they're a little bit better. So yeah, Red Sox hanging in there. They're actually above. I want to say the Yankees are in last place in the East, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the Red Sox are in last. But either way, Red Sox are playing decent ball. Unfortunately, they dropped because they got passed. But again, they've been playing well, and I think if you're a Red Sox fan, you can be optimistic. So we'll see what happens this week. But yeah, Red Sox are at 18. Same spot as last week are the Angels, so at 17. They're 15-14 overall. They lost the series in Milwaukee, but they won the series against Oakland before that. So they're playing good ball. The only thing is the teams up here were playing a little bit better, so they just stay in the same spot. They didn't drop down, but yeah, the Angels are playing well. They have a chance, I think, easily at the wild card. They're hanging in there with all the teams, and them in the playoffs would be super fun. So they're playing well. Hopefully they can keep it going because last year they were also playing well, and then So, Angels fans, I'm with you. Hopefully they can keep it going. But yeah, Angels, 17. We'll see what happens. All right, moving up 3 spots from last week are the Phillies. The Phillies are finally playing good ball. They went 4-2 in the week. They won the series against Seattle, and then they won the series against Houston. So Philadelphia is playing very good baseball. Finally, they were not playing good at all, but finally they look like they're awake. So maybe it's a little bit of fatigue from making the World Series, but finally the Phillies look like they're here to play, which makes me very happy, and they don't even have Harper yet. So Phillies fans, I'm with you. I'm rooting for you guys. Good week. They're moving up. They're now in the second row, not in the bottom anymore. It was really them in St. Louis who were not performing well to their standard, and St. Louis said, no, we'll stay here, and Phillies said, okay, time to get moving. So Phillies are playing well. Cardinals are not. That's why the Phillies are now up in the second row, and the Cardinals are still way down there. But anyways, yeah, Philly playing good. Hopefully can keep it rolling. All right, same spot as last week are the Diamondbacks. So Diamondbacks had a decent week. They didn't have a great week, so they're staying in the same spot. I actually caught 2 games there. Both games they lost when they played the Padres and the Royals. But yeah, Diamondbacks had a decent week though. They didn't warrant a move down. They didn't want to move Philly up that much to pass them, but they also did not move up because again they had an okay week, but nothing enough to move past the teams above them. So Diamondbacks are still hanging in there at 15. Hopefully you can get back to where I think at one point you were 10. So hopefully you can shoot up again. But I think we're starting to see them go back down to like where they should be because they were playing a little bit above their capabilities. So, but anyways, Arizona still in the hunt. They're at 15. All right, dropping 1 spot from last week are the Padres. So the Padres continue to not play as well as I thought. I think before the year started, I rated them as like the number 3 team overall, and right now they're not playing like it. So they're at 14. They went 3-2 on the week. They swept the Giants in Mexico, but they also lost the series in Chicago. So Padres just not playing great. They're playing good, but not great. I think everyone expects them to play great. They got Tatis back, so hopefully that gets them going. But yeah, Padres, I think, a little underwhelming so far. So hopefully they can bounce back. They're too good of a team not to, but I'm just waiting for it to happen. Because right now they're at I think they're at 14-14, so I think they're just at a 500 record. So yeah, Padres, we're still waiting for you to wake up, get it going. But right now you're at 14. And if you keep up mediocre weeks and these teams don't, you're going to keep dropping. So hopefully you can get it going. All right, same spot as last week are the Dodgers. So the Dodgers had a decent week. They went 4-2. They swept the Cardinals, but they lost the series in Pittsburgh. So Dodgers playing mediocre ball. They've had a couple of good weeks, so which is why they're not like around. They're a little bit past 15. Them and the Padres are kind of in the same boat, where they're kind of not playing as well as people thought they would. Although I think the Padres are playing even below standards compared to the Dodgers, because I think the Padres have the best roster on paper. I think in MLB right now, and they're just not playing like it. And Dodgers kind of in the same boat. So Dodgers are at 13. they had an okay week. They had a decent week. I'll say they had a good week, but again, not as good as the teams up here in the past. So they're staying right here at 13. So we'll see what happens this upcoming week. But yeah, I think Dodgers, in my opinion, are playing a little bit below standard. So we'll see if they can get it going. Dropping 5 spots are the Cubs. The Cubs did not have a great week. I think they beat the Padres at home. Actually, I think they beat them in San Diego, and then they lost. They got swept in Miami. So not a great week for the Cubs. They actually haven't had a great run of it. I think they're like 3-7 in their last 10, so not great for the Cubs. Hopefully they can bounce back, but this might be similar to the Diamondbacks, where they're just kind of going down to, I guess, where people expect them to play at, and maybe they're playing a little bit above standard. But I hope that's not true, because I want the Cubs to, stay in contention for that first place spot. And it looks like they're slowing down a little bit, so hopefully this next week they can get their foot back on the gas and start pressing. But yeah, not a great week for the Cubs. They dropped down to 12, but 12, again, still not a bad spot on the board. So, all right, dropping 2 spots are the Rangers. So now they're at 11. They got swept by the Reds, but then they won 3 against the Yankees. So I had no idea what to make of this week. So I did drop them 2 spots, mainly because they got passed. I didn't want to drop them too much because, like I said, they had a really good, strong finish to the week within the last 3 against the Yankees when they started off 0-4 in the week. So the Rangers had a good save to their week, but again, they do drop because they got swept and they had a below 500 record. They went 3-4, but they're 17-11 overall, so they have still a good record. So they could afford a little bump right there. But again, those Reds game could come back and haunt you because you should not get swept by the Reds, especially if you're the Rangers. But anyways, good bounce back week. They're at 11. I think if they have another good week, though, they could battle for the top row because not too long ago, I think they're at 8. So, but anyways, Rangers, right now they're number 11 on the board. We'll see what they can do next week. All right, moving up 2 spots are the Pirates. So now they're at 10. 10th place. And I was debating on moving them up because they had a 4-2 week, but they beat the Dodgers, and then they won the series against Nationals. So they won both their series, and I just want to give them the recognition they deserve because, again, I don't know if this is legit or not. I still don't know if this is real. So if they start going back to what people expect them to play at and they drop on the board, I want to make sure they get their chance, their chance to get in the top row. And so I want to reward them for how they're playing because I know some people might write them off and still have them down here, even though they're playing well. But I feel like they're 20-8. You can't really ignore that at this point. So they deserve the recognition. Right now they're at 10. If they have another good week, I'm putting them in the top row. I don't care what anyone says. They're going to be right here if they have another good week, or even past that. Who knows? So Pirates are playing very good baseball, and I really could be happier because this is probably the team that no one expected to have a good start or even a good year, and they're having a great start. So awesome job for the Pirates. I'm all for it. All right, dropping 3 spots from last week are the Yankees. The Yankees, They had a week. So they lost the series against Minnesota for like the first time they lost the season series since like 2001. So they lost the series against Minnesota, and they lost the season series, and they lost that streak against Minnesota. So as a Minnesota fan, I couldn't be happier. And then they went into Texas, and they lost 3 or 4. So the Yankees fans are panicking, which is so stupid to me because it's like you have a team that's like 1 game above 500 and you're panicking, whereas people that Brewers, Twins, Guardians, all these teams that once in a while play well, and then the Yankees cry when they don't have a team that's about 10 games over 500. It's just like, it's annoying to me, but I also understand that you pay a lot of money, so you expect your team to be good. And in a way, I can agree that you should be upset if your team's not playing well and you have that much money. But at the same time, it's like you're so spoiled. So I don't really feel that bad, but I also understand their frustration. So Yankees dropped 3 spots. They're not playing great right now, so they're at number 9. And I don't want to drop them too far because I do think they're very capable of having a bounce back week, which I expect almost fully guaranteed they're going to have a great bounce back week and might end up back in the top row because the Yankees, you can't keep them down for that long. And they play the Guardians, which as a Twins fan, I hope they just come out and crush them. So we'll see what happens. The Yankees at 9 right now. Like I said, not playing great, but we'll see. All right, moving up 2 spots are the Astros. So the Astros, I think, are back. I think it's safe to say. They won the series against Tampa, and then they lost the series against Philadelphia. So 2 good teams. 2 teams are playing extremely well. And they had a decent week. So I have them moving up 2 spots. I know some people might disagree with that, but they're at 8th right now. They're playing good baseball. I'm glad the Twins played them at least once when they were struggling because I do not want to play the Astros when they're on fire because they're almost impossible to beat. And then they don't even have Altuve right now, so who knows what happens. But anyways, and they also, I don't think they had Alvarez when they were playing the Rays. So again, a good week for the Astros, I think, and I think they're back. I do. All right, moving up 4 spots are the Twins. So the Twins had a good week. I know some people might say, oh, you played the Royals, blah, blah, blah. They won the series against the Yankees. They won the season series against the Yankees. They won 3 of 1 they won 3 of 4, I should say, against the Royals. So the Twins are playing really good baseball right now. But they had this, I think the record now is the same one they had last year. So I don't know. I don't know what to think, but I'm just going to ride the wave. Hopefully the Twins can have a consistent full year. And honestly, the biggest issue has been Correa sucking. And I would hope he has a good bounce back month, because this month he had probably, I'm guessing, his worst month in his career for the month of April. So anyways, though, Twins are playing well, although they just got bit with the injury bug with Molly and Maeda now on the injured list. So we'll see what starters they bring up. I'm banking on Varland and Ober taking those 2 spots. But anyways, Twins are playing well. They have a crucial week against the White Sox and Guardians. I think the White Sox could be a trap series. I'm calling it here. Oh, this ball's peeling. And they're playing the Guardians. So 2 important series. Putting the Twins at 7, though. And we'll see what they bring this week. All right, moving up 2 spots are the Orioles. The Orioles are playing well. The only thing I'll say is, just by looking at it, glancing at it, I would say they probably have the easiest schedule of any team in the MLB. That's just my guess. I don't know the actual facts on that, but I took a look at their schedule before deciding where to move them up, and I almost didn't even move them up at all, because the only team they played that really caught my eye was the Yankees and the Red Sox, and every other team has been trash. I think that's what it was when I glanced at it. I just remember thinking that's a super easy schedule. So this might be, their 19-9 record might be a little inflated just because of the teams they played. But again, that could mean nothing. Maybe they'll play just as good against the better teams. Although I think the one good team they played was the Yankees, and they lost that series. But then again, going to give them the credit. I'm going to give them the recognition, just like the Pirates. But yeah, I guess the only thing that worried me was when I saw their schedule. So they won the series against Boston, and they won 3 of 1 in Detroit. So they had a good week. But yeah, that was one thing that caught my eye, thinking, they didn't really have they haven't had they didn't have a stretch of games that was tough. They've had the Yankees, I think that was it, and the times they played Boston has been pretty spread out. So they've had an easier schedule, so we'll see what May brings. All right, dropping 1 spot are the Mets. The Mets had a weird week because of rainouts, so they lost the series against the Nationals, which sucks, and then they only played 1 game against Atlanta, and they lost. So I didn't want to drop them. My logic was they're not dropping, they're only getting passed. So they did get passed, so they actually had to drop in a spot, but it wasn't based on their performance, it was based on some team doing better. So they're at 5 right now. I know some people might want them to drop more because they had a bad week. They went 1-3. They only played 4 games, so it just, I don't know. So I didn't really want to punish them. So I kept them at 4, and then I said, like I said, they're only going to move down if they get past, which they did. So now they're at 5. So the Mets, hopefully they have a better week. But again, it was just such a non-baseball week for them. I just didn't know what to do. So 5. All right, the team that passed the Mets, moving up 1 spot, are the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays had a great week. They went 5-1. They swept the White Sox, and then they won a series against Seattle. So the Blue Jays are playing great, and also the Maple Leafs made it out of the first round if you're a hockey fan. So a lot to cheer about if you're a Toronto sports fan. And the Blue Jays looking scary. So the record's 18-10. They're playing good baseball. I decided to move them up. I would not want to play them right now if I was anyone else. And yeah, they're looking good. Hopefully they can keep it rolling. All right, all these 3 teams are in the same spots. The Brewers are number 3. They had a decent week. They went 500. So another week like this, and they could get bumped down. So they lost the series against Detroit, and they won the series against the Angels. So again, not a miraculous week by any means for the Brewers. But they're hanging in there. They're at 18-10 now, so the record's starting to close a little bit, but nothing to worry about as a Brewers fan. But then again, a mediocre week, but they had kind of a buffer between every other team. So unless the Mets would have had a great week, they were gonna stay in 3 most likely no matter what. But yeah, another week like this, though, they could see themselves moving on the board. But right now, they're still at 3. But again, like I said, they have a great week, so we got to keep an eye on them this next week right here. All right, same spot as last week are the Braves. So the Braves, they went 4-1. They won 3 against the Marlins, and then won that 1 game against the Mets. And the Marlins, they could have swept them. They could have been a perfect 5-0, but they ended up blowing that last game. But yeah, the Braves are playing good baseball. They're first in their division. They look like the team that everyone kind of expected them to be. I was a little hesitant to be in on them right away. Obviously, they proved me wrong by playing good baseball. So the Braves are kind of right where everyone expects them to be in this top row. We'll keep an eye on them this week because they could end up overtaking first place maybe, because I think they're starting to maybe close the gap a little bit on the Rays. But again, the Rays are so far ahead, they might even have 1 more buffer week. So I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, keep an eye on the Braves. They're playing good baseball. We'll see what happens this week. All right, same spot, dominating every team. The Rays, first place. Another good week for them, but I guess again in Rays standards, maybe not a good week, but they're playing good baseball. The Rays just look, I don't know, like on another level right now. They did choke the last game against the White Sox today, but I just felt inevitable that the White Sox were going to have something good happen to them, and end up having a great comeback in the last inning. So yeah, but if you're Rays, you're probably just like, whatever, who cares? Our record's so good that whatever. So, Rays are still the big dogs, top dogs. No one's had a chance on them right now, so we'll see. You know, like I said, if the Braves can make some noise and maybe start catching up to them, but right now they're at number one, and I think they still have a buffer zone between them and the Braves just because they've had such a good start. So, the Rays are ridiculous. There's really not much else to say. But yeah, this is the power rankings for week 3. So like I said, week 2, I was gone in Arizona, so I put up that picture to compare the stats to with the week 2. So yeah, this is week 3. Finally have the board, and hopefully next week I'll have my stand to put the board on, not just have it put up on a bunch of textbooks and covered with the Phillies blanket. So yeah, this is week 3 of the power rankings. This is where the teams line up. And thank you for stopping by.